and welcome to Bits, the show that peels the wrapper off the great gaming lolly
and stuffs it down your gulpy little throat. On tonight's show, we're growing big heads and speed freaks, we're powering up the Dreamcast for Sega Rally 2, and we're uncovering future releases from developers Rage, creators of Incoming.
But first, saddle up for some full-on horsey action.
Tally-ho, chaps and chapettes, go grab your saddles because it's time for some equestrian fun. The game you're about to see has absolutely nothing to do with the thrills and the spills of the Wild West. Nay, go get your shovels because it's time to do some serious mucking in Mary King's Riding Star. Super.
He's a grand horse, that, just like his parents were. My name's Jim. I'm offered to look after the stable for your ma.
Hello, I'm Sarah.
Hopefully.
It was only a matter of time before a fully interactive horse riding game came along. It arrives in the wake of fishing games like Bass Landing and amidst the interior decorating tips of Barbie's dream home. Riding Star is a gentle, shall we say, soothing game about the joys and smells of owning a horse, from the daily grind to the thrill of competition. Don't expect Elizabeth Taylor to make an appearance, but do grab your hankies for a serious nod to National Velvet.
She does well.
Come on, boy.
As a breathless city girl, you'll have responsibility for Morning Star, a thoroughbred mare. Your duties include cleaning, feeding, watering, grooming, and saddling up, using an easy-to-understand but infuriatingly pedantic point-and-click interface. If, for example, you'd like to brush your horse, lead her to the courtyard, then go to the tack room and click on the drawers. Open the top one, click on the brushes, close the drawer, move away from the drawers, leave the tack room, click on the horse, click on continue, brush. Repeat this routine for food, water, saddles, and brooms. After and only after all the chores are done can you compete. But how, pray tell, do you maneuver your beast? Well, you take an isometric bird's eye view of horse and rider, hurtling them over variously placed gates and barriers. There's minimal hand-to-eye coordination necessary and no chance of off-roading, or the droll announcer will declare your disqualification.
Oh dear, that's not what she would... Oh, that's it! Disqualified. She'll be terribly disappointed.
Back at the ranch, you're stuck doing the chores again, and you can't go back to competition until they're completed. Now, this process continues over and over again indefinitely, until you've either gone loopy from the dithering Mulligan O'Hare come Faulty Towers music, or until you've won the World Championship. Visually, it's primitive. The horse is a rendered 2D image with 3 moving parts, and the willy isn't one of them. The backgrounds are flat, the spectators are floating sprites. Morning Star doesn't touch the ground, but glides across it on a pixelated map. Mucking out and grooming are akin to erasing pre-rendered textures stuck onto bitmap images in early Apple computer paint packages. This is a fantastic game for kids who have a thing about horses or no friends whatsoever. But seasoned gamers will want to send Riding Star to the glue factory.
All over the place. What a disappointment.
How'd you go, lass?
Not well at all.
Ah, never mind.
Well, if you're looking for a more grown-up one-handed game, check out Lula the Sexy Empire for your PC. Using a similar interface, this Riding Star boinks her way to the top of the porn industry. But Mary King's Riding Star is out this month for your PC and coming out on PlayStation in October.
Here's Emily.
What is it about tiny toy cars racing around weird little tracks? There's been a profusion of them recently. Micro Machines for the N64, Revolt for your N64, PlayStation and PC, and now there's another one. It's for your PlayStation and it's called Speed Freaks. Yes, we've got more mini motors to pelt around some cutesy tracks. And you know what? I think we've got Mario Karts to thank for it. Ever since Nintendo launched the classic on the SNES, other consoles have been falling over themselves to bring out something to match it. Micro Machines is excellent, but it does look a little dated now. All those basic graphics and bird's eye views are so passé. Acclaim's Revolt, which we reviewed last week, looks fantastic and plays beautifully. And yet, here we are with another. Do we really need one? Well, Speed Freaks has been in development for 2 years. Dublin-based developers Funcom have been hard at it perfecting a game for Sony to beat Nintendo's Mario Kart. At first sight, the game does look extremely similar. Matching little bodies poking out of 4 wheels, same cartoon-style tracks with sweeping curves to skid around. Even the shortcuts are alike, although in slightly different settings. Yes, this truly looks like a Mario Kart for the PlayStation. If you watch the tracks, you'll even notice a small homage to the classic. Some of the side hoardings actually have the word kart written in big letters with a blurred image of a little red man. Spooky or what? Like Mario, Speed Freaks is a character-based game. You choose one of 9 characters, 6 of which you start with and the others you have to unlock. All the cars carry different weights affecting their road handling, acceleration and speed. There are 3 classes, light, medium or heavy. Of the initial 6, I personally preferred Tempest as he's agile, heavy and easier to control than some of the others. The learning curve is pretty steep to begin with, but once you've mastered the basics and familiarised yourself with the courses, you'll be fine. You will have to learn how to use the weapons though, because the other characters will leave you behind and the crowds actually boo you if you're doing badly. There are 12 tracks in total over 3 leagues at different levels of proficiency. You'll also be able to custom build your own league made up of 4 of the 12 tracks, and you can carry them around on a memory card to challenge your friends with. In each section there are 4 styles of track: beach, volcanic, urban and a muddy funfair, all with beautifully detailed backgrounds. Personally, I didn't find the intermediate level that much harder than the beginners, but then that was pretty damn tough. Funcom also tipped their hat to another seminal racing game, Wipeout. The urban track and some of the weapons really reminded me of it. The game runs really fast too, and for extra oomph, you can pick up speed tokens on the track as well as weapons, of course. Weirdly, I found the game easier to control when I had the extra thrust. Overall, this game has some quality graphics and some cool sound effects. Check the funfair or the waves lapping. There was some polygon folding, where you see the other sides of the walls, but not enough to seriously impair the game. The real beauty of this game is that you can play up to 4 players with a multi-tap, and it has to be said that this is one of the first games really worth the extra cash. There were some really nice touches, but personally I didn't find it as good as Mario Kart's on the SNES because you can't be so cheeky with it. Although you can bounce around corners, you can't get that leery little jump to taunt your opponents. Having said that, it's still a bloody good game, and Speed Freaks will be out for your PlayStation on September 1st.
Ultimate speed, power and realism are attributes any bike lover wants to see in a sim dedicated to the two-wheeled racing genre. Titles like Superbike World Championship, GP500 and Castrol Honda Superbike have proven it. What Nintendo did for Formula 1 cars, Milestone is now doing for motorbikes. And now Tech Interactive have launched the latest attempt to create a premier interactive motor racing experience for PC. The name of the game? Castrol Honda Superbike 2000. As the sequel to Castrol Honda Superbike, the new version had to make up for where its Grand Prix brother had failed. With an improved, smoother frame rate of 60 frames per second and 10 brand new tracks in addition to the original 10 from the previous game, this sim will take your breath away. You get to race in countries like Italy, Monaco, the States, or on tracks like Suco Island or Kangua Town. There are brakes to adjust, tires to fit, gear ratios to change. Tune and tweak as much as you fancy. This game has plenty of options. The Honda license is an important element in calling this a true simulation software. The fact that Castrol and Honda have lended its support makes this game feel and look like a real bike sim. There are plenty of camera angles, with the usual TV-style replay plus the first-person view. The game has also got a multiplayer option where you can play against up to 6 people on a network or alternatively split screen with a partner. The sound sports some good 3D effects so you can hear your opponents approaching. To get the maximum out of your bike, make sure you make the right adjustment in the workshop mode and watch out for the added realism in the top levels. Your machine can easily overheat, resulting in loss of power if you over-rev it. Lovers of detail will adore the adjustable bike physics and astonishingly smooth graphics. This game will take you to the two-wheel biker's heaven, that's for sure. Castrol Honda Superbike 2000 is out for PC now.
Get your VCRs recording if you want to get a cheatin', because it's chalk and duster time here on Bits. First up, I've got a cheat for Kingpin Life of Crime, the hard-hitting gangland first-person shooter. Tired of being a badass? Well, why not be the big kahuna, the big guy upstairs, God himself? Start out the game using Command Line plus Developer 1, and then while you're in gameplay, type in a backwards apostrophe and write God.
It's always more fun to wind up your opponent, so we've got a great little cheat for you this week. It's for the Star Wars Racer on the N64. Use this and you'll be able to whiz round like a psycho wide boy with loads of verbal abuse, road rage styly. Simply hold down Z and press A to enter the race, and then press R twice during gameplay to activate. That's if you think you're hard enough.
Into beat-em-ups for PlayStation? Well, I've got a nice little cheat for Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. You can grab Dan and make him explode on impact with loads of fireworks. Just access the main menu and press R1, circle, left, triangle, triangle, select Dan and press weak punch until the word fight disappears. Watch that boy burst. Join us after the break for Sega Rally 2.
200 more easy left, me.
Beware, coward.
Those boys at Maxis have done it again. Yes, the creators of SimCity and the assorted silly spin-offs are just about to release the brand new and exciting invitation to a wonderful interactive soap opera. It's called The Sims. Now, Sims are little people, akin to the little computer people that lived on your old Commodore 64. And like those wee folk, you can either choose to take care of them or to totally ignore them. But this time around, the creator, Will Wright, has decided to delve deep into the world of social interaction. And he's hoping that us gamers are going to learn something about ourselves in the process. Everyone's a pop psychologist nowadays.
These little Tamagotchi-likes are the center of attention, relying on the characteristic patterns of everyday life to lead them to the world that you've created. You fill in the blanks and let them play in your little dollhouse for adults. Hopefully, if we've organized it right, our Sim has got people to share his downtime with, and he's made mates with the other Sims on the block, playing pool, having a hot tub, or eating pizza on the zebra-skinned couch. They'll argue, they'll laugh, and perhaps they'll settle down and fall in love, massaging, smooching, getting naked, and making babies. The game should get a U rating, however, so don't go out expecting hardcore porn. Everything is tastefully blurred for the most sensitive members of the audience. The Sims don't get old and die, but if you get bored of their tedious existences, you can evict them and bulldoze their property, creating a space for more interesting people. The Sims are moving to your PC in January.
Bit of international news for you. Italy has banned Resident Evil for being too violent. This is bound to send shockwaves through the industry globally, although it has to be pointed out that there was no classification system in place anyway, and the youngest of kids had access to the game. Kingpin and Silent Hill are going to be in for a rocky ride over the next few months.
We've got the latest addition to the management genre. It comes from developers Bullfrog, the creators of Dungeon Keeper 2. The name of the game? Theme Park World. It's the latest version of Theme Park from 4 years ago, but this time it's bigger, more colorful, and comes with lots of cutesy delights. You get to create your own 3D theme park in 4 different styles: spooky, futuristic, goblinistic, and Flintstonistic. And you even get to put up your own roller coaster rides and ticket stands and facilities for the wee ones to do their poo-poo. But the best thing is that this game will have a dual level of gameplay, allowing you to both construct the theme park in the third-person mode and then switch to first-person, where you enjoy the rides yourself. As a nice touch, they are making this first-person into a camcorder-style view with a 360-degree camera. So have a stick bag ready, just in case you can't handle your own roller coaster ride. And the game promises to have many sub-games like go-kart racing and special events like parades. if you succeed in attracting plenty of visitors. Theme Park World is on the shelves in November. Expect lots of Christmas merchandise and an internet option where you can post your own creation and enter competitions for the best theme park ever.
So, Sega's Dreamcast launches in September in the UK, and with it comes a whole host of games including Virtua Fighter, House of the Dead, and the game you're about to see, Sega Rally 2, all arcade conversions. With 4 times the power of PlayStation, let's just see how it measures up. The PlayStation was a revolution when it launched 5 years ago. It introduced 3D games to a mass market eager to try its lifestyle brand of gaming. The strength of the console relied heavily on its vast library of software. So how will the Dreamcast compare? When Sega's new console launched in Japan, it had 5 key titles to support it, one of which was Sega Rally 2. With the news that Sony was breathing down their neck with their forthcoming second-generation console, Sega had to be sure that their first games were up to scratch, which is why, after a lukewarm reception by the press at the 1998 Tokyo Game Show, the original Sega Rally 2 arcade conversion was scrapped and the job was taken on in-house. The version you'll see now was pretty much put together in the record time of 2 months, and bearing this in mind, it's not bad. Not bad at all.
This is a real arcade game ported into a compact little console for your home gaming pleasure. After all, Sega's Dreamcast is meant to be just as powerful as its Model 3 arcade board.
You begin the game with a choice of 6 cars, all of which you'll be familiar with if you've played the arcade version. These include the perennial Essex Boy car, the Ford Escort and the Garlic Munchers import, the Peugeot 306 Maxi, amongst others. Naturally, the cars come in a choice of manual or automatic, ranging from a basic 4-geared model right up to 7. For the eternally anal among you, you'll be able to tweak your motor for optimum performance in the car setting mode on the main menu. You won't be alone, however, as you'll be accompanied by the trademark co-pilot who'll announce upcoming bends and their varying degrees. Fishtailing freely through the mud, power sliding through turns and riding the air at breakneck speed over bumps and jumps is fantastic stuff. And it shouldn't take you too long to get the hang of it either, as personally I found the Dreamcast controls very comfortable once I'd got to grips with using the triggers for acceleration and braking. The game has got some really nice touches too. The moody sky reflected in the windscreen is brilliant. There's no denying they're gorgeous, but the graphics on the track are a little dull and predictable, even if they are true to the arcade version. For example, in a desert track, Sega have included a helicopter and some emus running away as you career towards them. Noble attempts to make it more interesting, but they appear at exactly the same place every time. I was expecting a little more, considering the Dreamcast's much-touted superior powers, which brings me to the inconsistent frame rates and the pop-up. I know this game was made in a rush, but really that's no excuse. Sega, get it right before you release it if you want to keep the respect of gamers. Enough said. Ultimately, I thought that there were far too few tracks, too few cars, and too few options. I know it's an arcade conversion, but if all I wanted was the arcade game, then I'd get my hand sticky on the steering wheel doing the real thing. Fortunately, it's a 2-player game on a split screen. If you really want to get your money's worth out of the game and the console, take advantage of the network play. With the Dreamcast online gaming capacity, you'll be able to play up to 4 players over the internet via the modem. Now that really does make this game special. It will open up a whole new world of gaming to console players that has previously been restricted to privileged PC gamers.
Despite the occasional unpolished look of the game, it's still fantastic. Basic bits did annoy me, but the fluidity of movement, exciting play and overall look won me over, apart from the fact that I really like the arcade version anyway. Sega Rally 2 will be available for your Dreamcast in September.
The game you're watching is Hostile Waters, created by Rage, the people who brought you Incoming. With offices in Birmingham, Liverpool, and Newcastle, they've developed a range of high-powered PC games, some of which have been ported to the more modestly equipped PlayStation. But with the Dreamcast set to launch and PlayStation 2 somewhere around the corner, we are now entering the age of the Super Console, allowing PC games developers to transfer their creations from the desktop to the living room floor with virtually no programming compromises. At this pivotal time in gaming hardware, BIT speaks to Julian Widows of Rage to find out exactly what they're offering.
Now you've got Hostile Waters coming out. And what's going to be the difference between Incoming, which was definitely a beautiful looking game, but not a lot of plot, and Hostile Waters?
Okay, with Hostile Waters, we've taken elements of action, elements of strategy, and combined them into a package that really works together. So you have tanks, helicopters, planes, all of which you can jump into at any point, or command from within inside your carrier. We also have incoming Dreamcast in development. That's going to be a day one Dreamcast launch. It's an arcade shooter where you take control of different vehicles and try and defend the Earth from an alien invasion. We also have a game called Expendable in development for the Dreamcast. PC game again, top-down arcade shooter. You fight through 20 levels. Again, fantastic visuals, very fast-paced arcade gameplay. Then we have a soccer title in development. We've got Ruud Gullit, Jonathan Pearce, Ron Atkinson, great ball physics, loads of different modes of play. We've also got an off-road driving game. The physics really adds a whole new depth of gameplay to it. Each spring on the vehicle's model. So when you go over a patch of mud, it feels like you've gone through mud. When you're going up a hill and the engine's labouring, you can actually feel the engine labour.
So gameplay really is key for you then?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a debate, isn't it? I think it comes, time and time again, you'll see magazines and people talk about gameplay, but it's the most important thing. The graphics, the visuals, the physics, it enables us to immerse the player in a game world, to give them a really believable environment in which they can act and interact with the objects. But at the end of the day, if the gameplay's not there, then, people aren't going to come back to your games.
Well, you also have an incredible effects team, and you have a very dedicated effects team just simply to the physics engines.
It's unbelievable how real that looks. A bullet hitting a turret actually does apply physical force to it. It's down to that level. When an object explodes, every single part of that object, when it explodes, has physics on it.
Are you worried, though, that you're going to start alienating people who don't have 3D effects cards, the non-serious gamers?
I don't think so. I think if you buy a PC nowadays, you'll struggle to actually go out into the shops and buy a PC without a 3D accelerator card. I mean, it's just not something you can do that easily. But of course, around the corner, we have Dreamcast, we have PlayStation 2, and the games are going to look as good on those, if not sometimes better than the PC versions.
Well, sound, visuals, all these wonderful things are wonderful and great and good, but you must go back and play old school games. You must go back to your old Atari 2600 and plug in.
I still drag out Missile Command from time to time. I think in my eyes it's one of the ultimate Twitch games. When all those missiles are coming down and you're having to try and juggle it and get between each missile and blow them up, I think it's one of the ultimates. I really, really love that game. I loved it in the arcade with the trackball, and I think it's a game that works so well on the Atari. I still go back to that and play it occasionally.
Well, I hope you took notes on that. Thank you very much, Julian Widows from Rage.
That's a pleasure, thank you.
Competition time!
And this week is your chance to win your very own place in a computer game.
You may remember a couple of weeks back, Peter Molyneux from Lionhead Studios was on the show. Well, their new game is Black and White, and it's coming out in March.
It's a pure God Sim concept. You create your own creature and rule over your own little Eden.
Every single decision you make affects the balance between good and evil in the lives of your little creatures and your little people.
You'll be able to take your own creature online to meet with other black and white creatures from across the globe.
So tonight we're looking for two winners, a boy and a girl, and we could call them our bits, Adam and Eve. You will have your faces imported into the game, and you have your own character with your own house and a village.
All you have to do is answer this one easy question.
In the Bible, Eve tempts Adam into eating the apple, but who talks Eve into doing it?
Please email your answer to our new email address. It's bitsonforlater@yahoo.co.uk. And don't forget, tell us if you're a boy or a girl. Wow!
Beware, coward.